Hello, this is Trish from Unwrite the Rules, and today I'm going to talk about how you can end 2020 on a positive note. Now, it's no secret that 2020 has been, how should we put this? Hideous. Personally, I started the year in Australia, choking on smoke and literally watching a mountain burn in front of me, and then beyond all expectations, the year just kept getting worse. So now that it's drawing to a close, you'd be forgiven for just wanting to drink the memories away and try to move on as quickly as possible. But I personally think that would be missing out on a huge opportunity to end the year on a high note. Now, to my mind, the best way to truly close out the old year and clear the way for a better future is to stop, reflect, acknowledge all the achievements and lessons from the old year and move into the new one. And the best way to do that is with an end of year ritual. What's an end of year ritual? Well, it's something that I first learned about from Denise Duffield Thomas. She is my #1 business crush / inspiration. So if you're not following her, you absolutely have to. But an end of year ritual is just a structured process that's part spiritual, part success habit, and part mental health reset, which is especially important this year. And I really like it for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it lets you lock in the positives that came out of the year. By writing them down, acknowledging them, you remember all the good things that happened during the year. And that helps prevent what I call where did the year go-itis and the natural human tendency that we all have to really focus and remember on the bad stuff and let the good stuff just slip away. And secondly, it helps us fully let go of the negative aspects of the year while taking from them the positive growth and lessons that came out of it. Now, if we're really going to say goodbye to 2020 forever, yes, please. How do we actually do this? Well, the first step is to set the scene. Now, you'll want a quiet and comfortable space. You might want some mood music or smelly candles or incense if that's your thing. You really want to feel comfortable, relaxed, and reflective. And then all you need to do is grab your journal and pen, or if you'd prefer an online version that won't get lost, you can download the one that I have made for you just under this video. And then it's time to answer just 4 questions. Question number 1, what are your proudest achievements this year? Now, I know there might be a little bit of resistance around answering this, like imagining that anything good at all came out of this year, but I want you to think hard and list at least 10 things that you're proud of. And if you find that it's quite easy to get 10 things, then your challenge is to double it, write 20 things. The aim is to have a great big long list that gives us a warm, fuzzy, happy feeling when we go back and look at it. So there's no filter, no quality check. Literally anything that makes you feel proud is okay to make the list. It could be big things like maybe you got married, or maybe you bought some Bitcoin when it was still $5,000. Give me a time machine! Or maybe you kept up your exercise regime even in lockdown with the built-in world's best ever excuse for binge eating Oreos. But don't forget, your achievements can be less big as well. So maybe you realized that being alone wasn't the torture that you assumed it'd be. Maybe you planted and grew your first ever herbs in a pot. Or maybe you, unlike me, managed to press stop on the Queen's Gambit and not binge watch the whole series in one sitting. Come to think of it, if you did manage to do that, I think it counts as a big thing. So write down as many as you can, minimum 10, but as many as you can. Then it's time to move on to question number 2, which is, what do you know now that you didn't know 12 months ago? So this year has been so out of the ordinary that I guarantee you've picked up at least one new skill that past tense you a year ago did not know how to do. Maybe you took the opportunity of lockdown to consciously, deliberately learn a new skill. Or maybe the situation just forced you to do something that you would never have otherwise done. Maybe you know how to homeschool now. If you're like most of the parents I know, you probably didn't like it very much, but it is a new skill that you didn't know a year ago, and it's worth being acknowledged. So write out as many as you can. And then on to question number 3. So number 3 has a slightly different twist. How are you a wiser person than this time last year? Now, wisdom obviously goes above and beyond new skills, knowing how to do something. It's more about the life lessons that you took out of the past year and any insights that you had. And it's these insights that will, can, or should change the way you are moving forward. So it's really important to capture those and really bring them up to your conscious awareness. Now, this last year has been full of growth opportunities, uncomfortable, painful growth opportunities. So this isn't about going back into any trauma that you faced and making yourself feel and go through that again. It's more about, where you can, trying to draw a lesson out of the hardships and also the good things that 2020 has given you. And I guarantee every one of us has some new life lessons or insights coming out of this year. As an example, you might want to think about how the mainstream discussion of white privilege affected you. If you're white, you may notice things now that you weren't consciously aware of before, and that's really important to identify, write down, and consciously take with you moving forward into the new year. It's an example of something that isn't a one-off, like that happened and then that ended. That discussion is something that we build on, we grow from, and we move forward and upwards together. So that's the kind of an example of an insight or some lesson that you learned that you plan to take forward and take action on into the new year. That may or may not be one of the ones that jumps out at you for the last year, but just have a think about what life lessons you can take from 2020 and write them down. When you're done, then it's time to move on to the final question. Question number 4, what are you most grateful for from the past year? Now, if you forced me to choose just one habit that would guarantee to improve the quality of your life, that habit would be cultivating a gratitude practice. Gratitude is strongly and consistently associated with greater happiness. And that's the Harvard Medical School way of saying that tons of studies over loads of years have shown over and over again that gratitude does amazing things to your brain and it makes you healthier and happier. So if you've been keeping a gratitude journal throughout the year, now is a great time to pull it out, flick through and write down some of those things into your end of year journal. If you haven't been keeping a track of them throughout the year, it's time to cast your mind back and think of and identify some things you can be thankful for. Now, there are moments of gratitude to be found in even the worst of situations. It may be a moment of connection, a heartwarming conversation, the kindness of strangers. It could be something as simple as being grateful that you have a garden, or even a view that you learn to love because you looked at it so often throughout the year. Write down as many things as you can to be grateful for. Many. I mean, I personally would aim for 100. Gratitude, feeling gratitude, expressing gratitude is truly like a human superpower, and you'd be mad not to make the most of it. So that's it. After you've journaled on those 4 questions, you might want to do some kind of cleansing ritual, which could be as simple as blowing out a candle or doing a short meditation, whatever feels right for you. And that is how we can wrap up 2020 on a positive note, take the joys and lessons from it while moving forward into what surely is going to be a much better year in 2021. I'd love to know if this is helpful for you. Leave me a comment below or come and say hello on Instagram. Happy New Year!